Ever feel awkward talking to your kids about safe touch? You are not alone. But this simple conversation can make all of the difference. Today, I'm going to show you how to make it easy, natural, and yes, not awkward. So let's dive in. If you don't know me already, I'm Amber Gonzalez. I'm a trauma therapist, a licensed professional counselor, and I own my own private practice called Day One Therapy. I recently came out with an ebook about safe and unsafe touch, and this is one of the number one reasons why I did. So let's do this deep dive. Talk about why it's so important to have this conversation about safe and unsafe touch early, even if it feels uncomfortable, because in many of the cases that I've seen in these SA cases, that a lot of times it could have been prevented if the conversation happened earlier. A lot of times I see clients coming to me at teenager that it happened at 7 years old, they were SA'd, and a teenager they're finally disclosing. Why? Because they just found out that it wasn't okay when they took a health class in high school. So let's do a deeper dive. Let's acknowledge the elephant in the room, right? Yes, it could be awkward, right? So a lot of parents come to me, I don't want to talk to my kids about safe and unsafe touch. It's awkward. I don't want to scare my kids. Again, yes, you're going to feel awkward. Many parents experience this. But again, the worst thing you could do is to not have the conversation and something happens to your child. That is the bigger risk. Okay. So again, it's totally normal to feel unsure and awkward, but start the conversation with your child about safe and unsafe touch. Here's some great examples. I really recommend after potty training. So once your child is fully potty trained, probably ages 2 or 3, this is the time you want to introduce safe and unsafe touch. Okay. During bath times also is a good time. And then also during doctor's visits, when the doctor has to do a physical and when they have to look at your child's private areas, you want to be able to start that conversation. So some nice, easy, simple language. You always want to use simple terms that your child can understand, right? We don't want to use any words that are too big that they're confusing, all right? So we want to provide specific language to explain safe versus unsafe touch in a way that is not frightening. Number one thing would be we all have parts of our bodies that are just for us. If anyone tries to touch you there, you say no or tell mommy or daddy. Okay, that's very important. And parts of your body that you do not touch are going to be your private area. And your private area, you're going to make sure that you give what? The correct name, the scientific term. We're not using nicknames ever. We're not calling it pocketbook. We're not calling it hot dog. We're not calling it cookie. We're calling it by its true scientific terms, right? Because we want to be clear. We want to be concise. We don't want any confusion. No ambiguity comes to this conversation. All right. There's also ways that you could role play scenarios. So, how playing can help your child feel more prepared without being scared. Some examples would be to be once you teach your child again what safe and unsafe touch is, that nobody touches your private area but you, using the scientific terms. The goal is for what? For you to have some role play and let them know. So what would you do if someone tried to touch you inappropriately? What would you say? And then they would say, I would say no. And then I would tell mommy. And then you would say, absolutely. This is exactly what I want you to do. Tell mommy, tell daddy. If this person touch your private area or ask to touch your private area. And again, I want to encourage you parents to practice this with your children often, just to make it feel natural. Make when it comes up, when it makes sense. Again, potty time, bath time, doctor's visits, randomly. If something came up that kind of makes sense, that's when I really want you to bring it up. I hope this is making sense. Comment below if it's making sense. And if you like this video, I want you to let me know why you like it so I can continue this content. The next huge thing that's really important, sorry, is going to be empowering kids to speak up, right? So we always want to discuss with our children to be able to trust their intuition, to trust their gut, to trust that weird feeling. We want to teach them to always speak up and speak loudly. We are going to teach our children that they can say no to any, and I mean any touch that they don't like, even if it's from family or friends. You would be shocked that 99.9% of all my cases have been from who? Family members. These are not strangers or monsters coming from underneath the bed that are essaying these kids. They are family and close friends. So again, our goal is to empower our children to be able to speak up and to be able to say no, even if it's a trusted adult that is causing them to have this feeling. You always want to make sure that we teach our children to speak up. And next is going to be building that ongoing conversation. This is not a one-time deal. This is an ongoing follow-up forever and ever. Okay. Until they're adults when they can really manage themselves, right? So building this ongoing conversation, talk about how this isn't just a one-time conversation, but rather an ongoing dialogue, which we just did. And I want you guys to bring up safe touch in different everyday contexts when it makes sense. Like I'm picking up my son from school and I'm like, okay, how was your day? And then he's like, oh, cool, good. So nothing happened that shouldn't have. That's kind of an example of that. And then my son will know, like, oh no, mom, it was nothing that shouldn't have happened, and things like that. If you see that he was getting dressed in the locker room and he felt uncomfortable, that's something I'm going to do a deeper dive in, and things like that. Okay, so our goal is to always be able to build an ongoing conversation. Your child should feel safe enough for you to have that conversation with you, if they can. If your kid feels awkward because you feel awkward, don't expect to have the conversations like you want to have. Okay. Um, so let's wrap up what we talked about today. So some key points again is starting the conversation. Start it. The worst thing you can do is not. It's more risk to not start the conversation. And even when you feel awkward, right? We're all uncomfortable about it, but the more we talk about it, the more comfortable we're going to get and the safer for our children. All right. So I do have a ABC of Safe and Unsafe Touch that I'm getting great reviews about, guys. The ebook is a resource guide to do that deep dive. What it does is going to transform the insecure parent to feeling more secure about such a serious topic in a loving way. It's no confusion. I know some of these safe and unsafe touches I was reading on Amazon, some of the reviews, they create confusion and ambiguity of what is safe or what's not. My reviews are speak for themselves. It's clear and concise with no extraness, right? Straight to the point. Because we want it to be clear. All right, so you guys can look down below for that. I encourage you guys to subscribe, like, and check out the ebook for more tools. I am offering for a short limited time the A, B, and the C for free. And I hope to hear from you soon. I'm gonna do another video next week.